Welcome, one and all, to the SpareTalk News Network. Your host, Rod Weaver, will be up momentarily as he gets ready for his one-on-one interactive podcast to kick things off. So, sit back and enjoy. And now, on with the show.
All right, welcome back, everyone, to the podcast. Today, Bobby, we've got a topic that, honestly, just completely blindsided me until very recently. We're talking about scented bowling balls. Now, I know what you're thinking. Rod, how can you not know about this? But hear me out.
Oh, Rod, I'm already intrigued. I mean, I've seen them, but I definitely want to hear your journey to discovering them, because that's usually the best part.
Sounds good. So my exterminator technician, a young fella, probably around 20 years old, has been doing my quarterly service. And he's seen my somewhat substantial collection of pins and balls in the basement, you know, just some vintage stuff I have around, although there are over 500 duck pins and upwards of 150 balls. And we got to talking, as you do, and he tells me he's a two-handed roller, which is common now with the younger generation, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's a huge thing. Changed the game, really.
Right, totally. And then he casually mentions, yeah, my main ball, it smells like a strawberry milkshake. And I froze. A strawberry milkshake? I'm thinking, did he spill something on it? Is this a DIY thing he did at home? I had no idea what he was talking about. He then goes on to say he's looking to get one of the other flavors. Flavors, Bobby. I was completely lost.
See, that's wild. It's funny how things just kind of exist under our noses, isn't it? But yeah, scented bowling balls. They've been around for a while now. I've definitely noticed them on the lanes. I've seen a lot of vanilla, a good amount of orange. Strawberry milkshake is a new one for me, actually. That's pretty cool.
Vanilla and orange, you say? Man, I felt like such a dinosaur. I honestly had no clue this was a thing. My first thought, being the marketing genius I am not, was, who would buy that? That's ridiculous. It'll never sell. But then, seeing this young guy so enthusiastic about it and hearing that they're actually quite popular, I realized I was completely wrong, especially when it comes to judging the tastes of the younger generation, you know?
Oh, tell me about it. The game's changing so fast, and the appeal is definitely broadening. I mean, back in the day, a bowling ball was a bowling ball, right? Maybe a cool color, but a scent? That was definitely not on the radar. But these days, with so much competition for attention, you gotta innovate.
Absolutely. And it makes sense. I mean, we're always looking for new ways to engage, right? So after my exterminator left, I did a bit of digging, and that's when I found out Storm Bowling Products is really the primary manufacturer here, and they've been doing this since around the year 2000. So it's not even a new thing, it's just new to me, which is even more embarrassing.
Yeah, Storm's been at the forefront. They're often called the Bowler's Company, and they really leaned into this whole scent idea. It's not just Storm, though. Their Roto Grip line also features a lot of these infused fragrances. It's pretty comprehensive what they've done with it.
So Bobby, from your perspective, having seen them and knowing players who use them, what's the big draw? Is it just a novelty, or is there something more to it?
Well, Rod, there are a few things. First off, and this is a big one, it helps to mask the chemical smell from the ball manufacturing process. You know how some new equipment, like a new car, has that distinct smell? Bowling balls, especially when they're fresh out of the factory, can have a bit of a harsh chemical odor from the resins and materials. Infusing a scent like grape or blueberry or even cinnamon, which is a popular one, really cuts through that. It makes the ball more appealing right out of the box.
That's actually a brilliant point. I never thought about that, but it totally makes sense. You don't want your brand new expensive bowling ball smelling like, well, like a factory.
Exactly. And then there's the psychological aspect, which is super interesting. Storm actually publicizes this as a form of stress relief. It's a bit like aromatherapy. Some bowlers find that a pleasant, consistent scent can help them focus, relax, and get into their routine. If your ball smells good, it might just put you in a better headspace before you step up to the line.
Aromatherapy for bowlers, I love it. That's a concept I can definitely get behind. It's subtle, but I can see how it could make a difference, especially in a high-pressure tournament situation. Anything to gain an edge, right?
Totally. And it's also a unique selling point. In a market where everyone's trying to innovate with core designs, cover stocks, and finishes, adding a sensory element like scent really makes a product stand out. It becomes a distinctive part of the bowling experience. I've even heard some theories, though this might be a bit of a stretch, that certain scents can subtly increase friction for better hook, but I think that's more anecdotal than scientifically proven.
Now that's a new one. I'm imagining a cinnamon-scented ball just gripping the lane like crazy. That's wild. But you know, thinking about smells in a bowling alley, it makes me think back to the old days. I mean, walking into an alley early in the morning, before anyone's really started rolling, and you just get that whiff of freshly oiled lanes. To me, that was always a pleasant, appealing distinction of a bowling alley, provided, of course, the place didn't have that sometimes musty smell to it.
Oh, absolutely. That fresh oil smell, that's nostalgia in a bottle right there. It was almost like a perfume for the lanes. It always signaled a fresh start, a clean slate, ready for some good bowling. But yeah, you hit it. If the place wasn't well maintained, that musty smell could definitely overpower it.
Yeah, exactly. And so now, instead of just the oil or maybe that mustiness, you've got a whole orchestra of different scents. I mean, Storm has developed over 100 different scents. That's incredible. Cinnamon, green apple, vanilla, grape, blueberry, chocolate. My Exterminator's strawberry milkshake ball isn't even that out there, really.
It's quite the variety. And the scent is infused right into the resin during manufacturing, so it's not something that just wears off in a few weeks or months. These scents can last for years, which is another big plus. You're getting that consistent experience throughout the life of the ball.
Years, huh? That's really impressive. I guess it all goes back to the owner of Storm, who apparently noticed that adding scents to bowling ball cleaners was popular, and thought, why not put it in the ball itself? Brilliant. Now, speaking of balls and strange smells, this whole conversation actually reminded me of a story I wrote about in an issue of the North American Bowling News a few years back. It was an amusing little tale from my duckpin league days, way back around 1983.
Oh, a Rod anecdote. I'm all ears. Duckpin, 1983, I'm ready for it.
So I was a member of the Jimmy Deach Minor League in Wheaton, Maryland. A great group of guys, just rolling our typical series of league matches. Late in the first game, we started noticing this foul odor. It was distinct, like a rotten egg. Not too strong at first, and it kind of dissipated after a bit. We didn't think much of it, just a weird smell, probably someone's lunch or something, right? But then, a few minutes later, it came back, stronger this time, and then it went away again. Another few minutes, boom, it's back, even more potent. This went on for a while, and we were trying to ignore it, but it was getting harder and harder. Eventually, the guys started making comments, joking around who ate what, typical locker room humor.
I can only imagine the kind of jokes that were flying around. Classic bowling alley banter.
Oh, they were pretty wild. But then the smell vanished again, only to return with a vengeance. And at this point, it wasn't funny anymore. We were starting to get genuinely annoyed. We're looking around, sniffing, trying to pinpoint the source. Was it someone's shoes? Did something die in the air conditioning vent? We were mystified. Then, one of the guys, he's standing by the ball rack, and he goes, "Hey, wait a minute." He leans down and sniffs a pair of balls on the rack, and his eyes just about popped out of his head.
No way! It was the balls.
It was the balls. Not a human being at all. It was a pair of rubber balls from the Ebonite Tornado line. They were those popular multicolored ones, black, green, and orange. My brother and I, we used to call them clown balls because of the colors. And the reason the smell was off and on was because when they were rolled in a frame, they left the bowling area and went down into the pit. But as soon as they came back up onto the rack, that rotten egg smell would just permeate the air again.
That is absolutely priceless. So the balls themselves were the culprit, and they were just stewing there, releasing the stench until they got rolled? That's hilarious and also kind of gross.
Exactly. The owner, mortified, quickly grabbed them off the rack, zipped them up in his bowling bag, and stored them far away from the immediate area for the rest of the night. That was quite the memorable night of duckpin. So, you see, Bobby, while Storm is intentionally making balls smell good, there was a time when balls accidentally smelled not so good, and it certainly affected the bowling experience.
That's a fantastic story, Rod. What a contrast, right? From accidentally foul-smelling clown balls to intentionally delightful strawberry milkshake balls. It really puts things into perspective about how much thought goes into the player's experience now. It's not just about performance, but about the whole sensory environment.
It truly is. So, to wrap this up, it seems like the consensus here is that while scented balls might seem unnecessary to some, others clearly enjoy the favorable aroma, and there are legitimate reasons behind their creation beyond just novelty. It's all about enhancing the bowler's experience, right?
Absolutely. It's a harmless innovation, and if it brings a little extra joy, focus, or even just masks an unpleasant chemical odor for a bowler, then why not? I think it's a testament to how the sport keeps evolving and looking for new ways to connect with its players, young and old.
I couldn't agree more. And honestly, after learning about it, I'm kind of intrigued. Maybe I'll have to try a green apple scented ball for my next league night, just to see if it improves my focus, you know? Anyway, Bobby, this has been an incredibly enlightening and, frankly, amusing conversation. Thanks so much for joining me today and shedding some light on the aromatic world of bowling.
Great times here, Rod. It's always fun to talk shop, especially about the more unique aspects of the game. Maybe next time we'll discuss glow-in-the-dark pins or something even crazier.
I'll hold you to that. And to all our listeners, thanks for tuning in. Until next time, keep those pins falling and maybe give a sniff to your next bowling ball purchase. You might be surprised.
From the year 1975 in the Daily Advance. Bowler's dream almost came true. Mark Roth had a dream that missed coming true by one pin. Roth collected his first Professional Bowlers Association Tournament Championship last week. In the final round, he shot a spectacular .299 to clinch the victory. I had a dream the night before that I was going to shoot a 300 game, said the 23-year-old Staten Island, New York resident. I never dream about bowling, and that's what made me feel that the perfect game, was going to really happen, he continued. I was bowling real well through the whole tournament. I shot a .279 and a .280 prior to that. Roth, who has never recorded a 300 game on the tour, averaged .237 during the King Louis Open in Kansas City and is here this week competing in the $85,000 Cleveland Open at Buckeye Lanes. Roth recently moved his home from Brooklyn to Staten Island because I just needed a change. Brooklyn was getting a little too rough for me, but he still bowls out of a local Brooklyn spot. I didn't get back home until about 3 in the morning, but they had some banners up and a small gathering to greet me, said Roth. Roth started bowling when he was 11 years old and developed an unorthodox style of having a very crooked arm and using 6 or 7 steps. I'm not really sure how many steps I take. Roth looks like a small bird running on the sand away from an approaching wave with his short, quick approach steps. I watched bowling on television a lot and just went out and bowled the way I felt most comfortable, he said. I don't have a coach, but every once in a while, someone will help me out if I'm having some problems. Roth didn't take to the tour full-time until 1973, and although he never won a tournament, he collected $19,900. Last year, again without a win, he won $35,779. I made the top 5 8 times since coming on the tour, Roth said. I have a feeling that last week's victory may have broken the ice for me. I'll get my share of the top prize money from now on out. Roth is one in a field of 192, rolling for top money of $10,000. The final round of the Cleveland Open will be nationally televised on ABC, 3:30 to 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Saturday. From the Sun Journal from the year 1991. Smith making his mark on the candlepin scene. 15 years ago, Mark Smith picked up his first bowling ball at Auburn Lanes. By using 2 hands, he managed to send the ball rolling slowly down the alley. It wasn't a strike, but there have been plenty of them since. Since being booted out of a youth league at the age of 12 because he was head and shoulders above the competition, Smith, at 19, has become one of the premier candlepin bowlers in Maine. He has raised some eyebrows while pocketing a nifty piece of change and prizes from televised competition and on the Maine Pro Tour. Smith learned the sport while tagging along with his mom to her place of employment. Emily Smith worked part-time at Auburn Lanes near her Main Street home and brought along her 4-year-old son. Little Mark began a fascinating chapter in his life. Anyone who has ever rolled a few strings of candlepin bowling realizes how frustrating the sport can be. Most bowlers would gladly accept a 300 total during a 3-string performance. Mark rolled his first magical 400 at the tender age of 12. When he finished his 3 strings, he was told he had hit a 399. I questioned that, recalls Smith, and when the figures were calculated again, the youngster had registered a 401. That performance got him promoted from a youth program into a men's league. He averaged a 101 in his first season with the men. At the age of 14, the pins were really beginning to fly, and he recorded a 110 average. This season, Smith is averaging a lofty 129 per string. For the past 4 years, Smith has qualified for the television show called Maine Candlepin Bowling, competition which is taped 3 shows at a time and shown on Channel 51 on Saturdays at 12 noon. Recently, he captured 3 victories in a row during the head-to-head competition. During one, the lanky 6'4" 190-pound bowler crayoned an incredible 444, drilling 4 strikes in a row and walking away with a good supply of bonus money and a new color television set for his efforts. The 5 bowlers with the highest total at the end of the season will meet in stepladder competition for the championship. 5 will meet 4, the winner meeting 3, etc. The champion will earn $2,500 and the runner-up $1,250. Smith currently is sitting in first place with his 444 total and is likely to remain there. Last year, he finished second in the championship round. The stepladder finals will be taped on May 20 and televised on June the 22nd. The Auburn Flash is also a regular competitor on the Maine Pro Tour, which includes 6 stops. The entry fee is $305 for the entire tour. Top 20 finishers in each event receive prize money. Smith earned $2,500 on the tour last year. I love pressure, says the young bowler. I find that I do better when I'm down a few pins. Chip Irish, the new proprietor of Auburn Lanes, allows Smith much practice time to hone his skills. But a career in candlepin bowling isn't in the picture for Smith. Outside of northern New England and parts of Canada, the sport is virtually unknown. In recent years, Smith competed in 4 leagues during the week, but the wear and tear on his right hand has taken its toll. He is hampered by blisters and rawness. This year he has cut back to just 2 leagues. Despite his numerous accomplishments as a teenager, Smith is eyeing the future. I haven't pushed myself to the limit yet, he says. His goals include a 200 game, has a 190 high right now, a 500 3-string total, 445 is his high, and a 10-string total of 1400, with his current high being a 1335. After that, I just don't know, he shrugs. From the Democrat and Chronicle from the year 1985. Coburn's campaigning to promote LGBT image. Cindy Coburn isn't a rebel seeking radical changes. She's just looking for a few improvements. The only problem is, the 6-year professional bowler from Buffalo does not know where to begin. I don't know how much longer we can sit back and wait for something to happen, she said yesterday during a break in the Rochester Press Radio Club Day of Champions activities. I just feel like there is something the girls can do to help promote the LGBT tour. We've got to have a little more of the bowler's voice. I'm not taking anything away from John, she said of LGBT Commissioner John Falzone. He's the first person in a long time who has done something for women's bowling. But I don't know how much longer John can stay with this. Maybe he needs somebody else to help with other sponsors. At 27, Coburn is a veteran beyond her years. She has heard a similar story from her mother, Hall of Fame member Doris Coburn, who 2 decades ago established the Coburn name on women's circuits that changed names as often as current bowlers change equipment. But after countless weeks away from home, after years of trying to improve the image of her sport, the only career she ever wanted, Cindy Coburn is beginning to think nothing has been accomplished. And she said, "It's kind of discouraging." Coburn realizes the prize money, although increased over the years, still means only about 30 or 40 women can compete full-time. That's someone like me. I don't have any work responsibilities, no family. I can afford to take it on full-time. But after her most successful year, including a Rochester Classic title that helped her to number 4 on the LPBT's earnings list with $33,080, she steadfastly believes the prize money doesn't match the talent. I can't expect to be able to retire off what I make as a bowler, but it would be nice to make a start so that somewhere down the road someone could. The problem is circular. National tournament sponsors, many of whom manufacture equipment the women use, balk at offering prize money until the LPBT secures a television contract. But cable and network television executives refuse to touch women's bowling, even in the face of the success of the PBA Tour, until the LPBT gains financial backing from more sponsors. The first thing is, if we had proprietors in each area that were as enthusiastic about selling bowling, she said of Rochester tournament directors Marcel Fournier and Frank Formicola, then it's got to eventually work its way to the sponsors. But bowling is a sport that needs television, Coburn said. It's not like golf, where you can have thousands of people come and watch, and you're not going to have someone willing to pay $1,000 to play a pro-am, no matter who is playing. It's very hard to break into television. Maybe there is something the women bowlers can do to help. It just seems like we've been waiting too long for something to happen. She just doesn't know where to begin. Maybe if we had a player representative, if we elected someone to a yearly term, she said. It might fall flat, but then we could try something else. Perhaps even a woman commissioner would help. She rushed to reiterate that she isn't knocking Falzone, but said that the addition of Fran Wolf, a former touring pro, now LPBT tournament director, brings in more professionalism than we've ever had in the past. She's dedicated her time to bowling, and we need more people who are ready to do that, Coburn said of Wolf. Before, in her mother's playing days, there was a woman commissioner, but the players on the tour didn't want that person. But it's 10 years later, and I don't see anything wrong with a woman leading a women's sports group. Disparity between the sexes, that's a sore spot, but not as bad as disparity between the sports. Women bowlers make a fraction of what male professionals earn, but Coburn isn't jealous. I don't regret that they're getting more money, she said. It's that we're not making as much as we should. Even they, the men, don't make enough. I don't feel I've been discriminated against as a woman athlete as I have as a bowler in general. From the year 1984 in the Akron Beacon Journal. Baker earns first PBA title. Mark Baker rolled past 3 opponents Saturday, including top-seeded Bob Hanley, to win the $150,000 Miller High Life Classic and claim his first Professional Bowlers Association title. Baker, 22, beat Hanley 221 to 183 in the deciding match. He averaged 227 in his 3 championship round games. Hanley suffered 3 splits in the first 5 frames but came back with 4 consecutive strikes to remain in contention. Baker didn't take advantage of Hanley's misfortune, leaving the 7-10 split in the 3rd frame. He then rolled 5 strikes in a row, leaving Hanley in a must-strike situation for the remainder of the game. But in the 9th frame, Baker got a 5 count on his first ball and spared, giving Hanley another break. The match was not decided until Hanley rolled a gutter ball in the 10th frame. I thought he'd strike out in the 10th frame and I'd leave a 10-pin and miss it, said Baker, who missed a 10-pin in a 194 to 180 victory over Joe Salvamini in the semifinal. When he threw it in the gutter, I was real surprised. Besides winning $27,000, Baker earned a spot in the Firestone Tournament of Champions in Akron, April 17 through 21. Baker opened his title run with a 268 to 206 win over Ricky Sajak, who had eliminated rookie John Gant 209 to 177 in the first match. Hanley, who led the field by 326 pins after 42 games, earned $14,000 for second. Salvamini got $8,500 for third. Sajak won $7,000 for fourth, and Gant received $6,000 for fifth. The PBA Tour moves to Florissant, Missouri for this week's Angle Open. From the year 1987 in the Hartford Courant. Duckpin Alleys Lead Down Memory Lane by Tom Condon. The first piece of work for which I ever received remuneration, money from someone not a member of the family, was setting duck pins in various New London bowling alleys. At the age of 9 or 10, I'd set 2 alleys at once from a bench between them. It was tough on the shins. The rotund pins would sometimes jump up from one alley when I was looking at the other one, but the tips that bowlers rolled down the alleys weren't bad. Automation, in the form of automatic pin setters, soon put me out of work. But I hung out at Simpson's bowling alley for years afterward. Whenever there was nothing else to do, which was fairly often, my colleagues and I would bowl duck pins, clown around, smoke cigarettes, and discuss the elusive goals of adolescence, girls, and cars. Simpson's is long gone, and I hadn't thought about it in many, many moons. But I happened to be in the CVS pharmacy on Farmington Avenue in the West End not long ago. As I left, I noticed the sign for the Mark Twain bowling lanes in the basement of the building. I walked down the stairs and back 30 years. There was Simpson's of the 1950s and 60s, absolutely intact. The same kind of pin-setting machines that finished my young career. You have to push a triangular button on the floor to clear the deadwood, and a round button on the side of the ball rack to set the pins, were grinding along. The same beige ceiling and gold patterned wallpaper, the same light blue and pink molded plastic seats, the same wooden racks with holes for bottles or cans. It was Simpson's. On that Saturday, only one of the 16 alleys was being used by 3 teenagers who were rolling the balls between their legs, needling each other, and otherwise enjoying themselves. There once went I, so I vowed to come back. The city had more than a dozen duckpin alleys, and Greater Hartford had perhaps 50, said Morris Bloom, owner of the Mark Twain lanes. Now, his alley is the last in the city, and one of 4 left in the area. Big developments have taken over pockets of little businesses where the alleys were, and people's priorities have changed. But it's still a good game and people enjoy it, said the bearded, genial Bloom. The alley has been in business for 75 years, he said, originally under the name Midtown Alleys, a name that may have been dropped after someone looked at a map. I got back there on a Tuesday night and was greeted by Bloom's son, Andy, a big friendly red-headed kid. The alley's regular leagues include the Veterans League, City Gals, SOBs, which stands for Sunday Only Bowlers, Protestant Mixed League, Catholic Daughters, Our Lady of Sorrows, and others. The Our Lady of Sorrows team, I noticed, is made up mostly of people named Kennedy. It started as a league, but it's more a family gathering now, said Jerry Kennedy, who was once a pin boy at the Mark Twain. We're just like the other Kennedys, minus a few $1,000,000, said Lucille Kennedy O'Connell. We have fun. It's so relaxing. Over at the Catholic Daughters, the other Tuesday night league, Elda Lombardo said people come up to her and ask if she remembers the old Mark Twain lanes. They don't realize we're still bowling here. There's no need to argue the merits of duckpins versus tenpins. Just as tennis is superior to racquetball, duckpins is superior to tenpins. Tenpins is for the masses, people who want all strikes and spares. Duckpins builds character. It humbles you, said Bloom. A game is a story unfolding. It's harder, said Mary Cosgrove of the Catholic Daughters. Of course it is. God didn't intend bowling to be done with a ball so big that it must be grasped with finger holes. The big ball is simply for instant gratification. More pins fall and the bowler can pretend that he's accomplished something. You get 2 balls, so you get a strike or spare and you sit down, Bloom said. In duckpins, however, which uses smaller pins and balls, there are 3 balls, so even if you're having a bad frame, you've got to stay up there and take the punishment. Despite my respect for the game, I must confess I hadn't actually bowled duck pins in a couple of decades. I rented shoes for 50 cents and bowled 2 strings, $1.30 each. I had an 87 in the first string, and then I rocketed it up to an 89. That shows, I guess, that you can go home again, but may have lost a little something when you get there. From the Cleveland Press from the year 1974. From Mrs. Perk, Her Bowling Ball, by Beatrice Vincent. Joey Heatherton is giving a coat, Anita Bryant a book, to the St. Jude WWWE Radiothon on February 9th and 10th. And Mrs. Ralph Perk is giving her bowling ball. Since Cleveland's First Lady once turned down an invitation to a party at the White House because it unfortunately fell on her bowling night, her bowling ball is an unusually beloved bowling ball. Parting with it is something like Alice Cooper's parting with one of his wild shirts. As a matter of fact, the St. Jude WWWE Radiothon just happens to have one of those too. Mrs. Sam Costa, special gifts chairman for the event, is gathering up gifts of all sorts to be given or auctioned during the 40 hours of the Radiothon. All money raised during the Radiothon will go to the St. Jude Children's Research Center in Memphis. Last year, the Radiothon raised $100,000 in Akron and Cleveland. Here's another in the line of Dr. X's bowling tips. From the Flagler Palm Coast News Tribune from the year 1975. Timing Step and Release by Judy Cook Sutar. When the ball reaches its maximum height in the backswing, the body should be in balance with most of the weight on the ball side foot. When the ball starts its descent freely, the balance side foot should start to slide forward. The balance side knee plays an important part during this movement. If the knee is bent, the heel of the shoe will be elevated, allowing you to slide on the ball of the foot. At the conclusion of the slide, most of the weight will be on the balance side foot, and the bent knee will help maintain the balance line, which should run from the foot through the knee and up to the shoulder. The ball and the sliding foot should reach the area behind the foul line at approximately the same time. The thumb starts coming out at the bottom of the arc. The lift starts just beyond the bottom of the arc. Pressure is maintained with the fingers in the holes until the ball is released. The follow-through may be eye level, shoulder level, or between shoulder or waist high. The height should be consistent. The arm alignment should be over the target area. Being able to hold good form until the ball hits the pins is a sign of a well-delivered ball. From the year 1989 in the Buffalo News. Peterson edges Ferraro in PBA. Randy Peterson of Santa Maria, California, captured his second Professional Bowlers Association title in 3 weeks Saturday when he beat Dave Ferraro 225 to 209 in the championship game of the $160,000 Budweiser Classic. Top seeded Peterson held an 8-pin lead through 3 frames until Ferraro, from Kingston, New York, left a difficult 4-6-7 split in the 4th frame and failed to convert it. Ferraro's rally was thwarted when he left an 8-pin on an apparently perfect hit in the 7th frame. "The good Lord's looking down on me. I don't know what I did to deserve this," Peterson said. With $30,000 he won Saturday, Peterson moved past Del Ballot Jr. for the PBA earnings lead with $62,840. Ballot has won $62,515. The rosin Peterson puts on his hand while he bowls has dried his skin and caused it to split open occasionally. However, he said he is bowling too well to allow the hand to heal. "I just take the thumb hole and stick my thumb halfway in. I can't quit unless it gets really bad, he said. It was Peterson's sixth career victory. Ferraro, who was consoled with $16,000 for second place, earned his shot at Peterson and the trophy by eliminating Nathan Terry, Jr. of Amarillo, Texas, in the semifinal 216-190. Terry, who was appearing in his first championship round, settled for third and $8,000. One game earlier, number 3 seed Terry had knocked off 1988 PBA Player of the Year Brian Voss of Seattle 239-192. Voss, who was seeded 5th, earned $6,500 for 4th. Voss opened the national telecast by beating former PBA Rookie of the Year Mark McDowell of Madison, Wisconsin 227-217. McDowell took home $5,500. From the Morning Union from the year 1983. This is by Gene McCormick, and it's a Candlepin article. No headline. Charlie Soskovic, proprietor of Bowlodrome in Holyoke, calls it the greatest impact on Candlepin bowling in the area since automatic pin setters replaced pin boys. It's the Let's Go Bowling show, which makes its weekly debut on WGGB-TV, Channel 40 today from 1 to 1:30. We've been a long time searching for a striking force to bring candlepin bowling back alive, and I believe this competition featuring Western Massachusetts bowlers on a weekly basis is just the thing, said Soskovic. The program will have a perfect lead-in. Candlepin bowling aired over Channel 40 each Saturday from noon to 1 p.m. The show, originating from Boston and owned by that city's Channel 5 TV, is the longest-sustaining bowling show in the United States. Sportscaster Don Gillis is the host. Every 7 weeks, a man or woman from Western Massachusetts is involved in the above programming. But Let's Go Bowling, with local sportscaster Don Earl as host, takes a giant step beyond that by limiting competition to residents of the western end of the state only. Soskovic said several years ago, the association asked Channel 40 if it would be interested in doing a show. Unavailability of technical equipment prevented its launching at that time. Channel 40 program manager Larry Therian says station general manager Gil Lefkovich deserves credit for resurrecting the idea. The format will be a Scotch foursome, 2 men and 2 women alternating frames. Within the framework of the show, 2 sets of challengers meet in a 1-string roll-off, with the winner taking on the King and Queen of the Hill. The winner of the final match each week reigns as King and Queen until such time as a new team is crowned. Total pinfall determines the matches. Lexine Detz of West Springfield, representing West Springfield Lanes, and Westfield's Paul Burt, bowling for Bowlodrome, roll against Sharon Rawson, Greenfield, representing French King of Millers Falls, and Westfield's Jim Orlandi, representing Jim Orlandi, in the show's first match. The winners, we won't give it away, then meet area finalists Marie Lafreniere, Northampton, representing Pioneer Lanes of Hatfield, and Irving's Don Malou, representing French King. 16 association houses provide weekly qualifiers. The tournament is a $10,500 added event, with the weekly winning team getting $200 plus trophies, the losing finalists $100, and the other competing team $50. Television sets will be awarded every 6 weeks, and there are other cash bonuses, $50 for a double strike and a set of bowling balls for a triple strike. Well, I think we'll wrap it up for today. Thanks again for stopping by and tuning in to our revised format of the This Day in Bowling History podcast. As usual, if you'd like to be notified of future videos when they become available and are published, feel free to hit the subscribe button in the lower right-hand corner of the videos or the YouTube screen. Have a wonderful weekend, and I look forward to seeing you on the upcoming Monday, and hopefully we'll have a few more enhancements to the podcast. So take care.